Hey guys, how you doing? Nathan here with
Andrei Smirnov.
Thanks for joining us. This is a very special edition of, I guess you just call it TFL today?
It's always TFL today.
It's always TFL today. And we are doing, in light of what's going on with gas prices right now, because of the hurricanes and the future hurricanes that are hitting the United States, prices here are going up. In fact, currently, gas prices are up over last month 30 cents and up to 40 cents
In some states.
more in some states. Diesel's right now up 17 cents over last month. So all the prices are rising. Because of that, we are doing a special MPG least and most efficient trucks that we've tested, and it's coming to you right now.
Yeah, and the prices we quoted are according to the AAA.
Yep.
And some states are not affected yet, like Hawaii is not affected. Fuel prices are they're already super high.
Right.
And Alaska and like Idaho is not quite affected yet, but majority of the states are affected by rising fuel prices.
And will be affected more in the future as these prices are expected to climb.
And a TFL truck, we test as many trucks as we can get our hands on.
That's right.
And we do as many tests as possible within the week that we have the truck. So we've tested most of these trucks we're going to be talking about.
Yep.
But for the best, most fuel-efficient pickup trucks in America, these are EPA numbers.
That's right. These are EPA numbers, and all of the trucks on this list are either front drive or rear drive. I bet you can figure out already which one's a front drive.
But we've tested a lot of these trucks, and in real world, on our highway test, we usually come very close to the EPA numbers.
We have
empty.
Empty. We've come close to the EPA numbers. So let's get started with it with number 5 on our top 5 list for the best, and then when we're done, we'll go to the worst. Number 5 is the Chevy Silverado Hybrid 2-wheel drive, 20 miles per gallon combined.
Yeah, and this is a 5.3 liter V8, and it's actually the Silverado and the Sierra.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, they're cousins.
But they're really limited, right? I mean, you can't just go out and buy one that easily.
Right, you have to ask for it. It's not like they're sitting on the lots.
Right.
But it's a mild hybrid system. It's a very small battery, very small electric motor. So it assists the truck to move forward, not meant for running the truck completely on electric power alone. And they're available in all 50 states now.
That's right. Used to be like only California at one point, right?
Only California.
Yeah.
But for 2018, you can actually get them in 4x4s and 2-wheel drive trucks. So ask for it, and you could get one.
That's right. Now, the next one on our list is actually a really surprising one, and I'll get to the reason why after we name what it is. And that is the Ford F-150 2-wheel drive with the 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine, one of our favorite power plants. And one of the reasons why is because with the 10-speed transmission they now have, it gets 21 mpg combined.
Yes, that's a really impressive number because we're talking about a full-size half-ton pickup truck. And why is this so interesting?
It is interesting, aside from that really awesome picture you have. That's our new 3D effect, by the way, guys. That is the same combined MPG as the Nissan Frontier that we had, which was a 5-speed manual transmission rear drive truck with a 4-cylinder engine.
Yes.
Yet, and it's a small truck by comparison, yet it is the same MPG combined as this bigger Ford F-150. So Ford's doing something right with that F-150 and the 2.7. I mean, that is equaling a mid-sized truck. That's impressive.
We have not tested the 2018s yet. Those are still coming.
Yeah.
They're not quite. Some dealerships may have early models of 2018 F-150s. And we haven't, we've driven it in Michigan.
Yeah.
It's not here in Colorado quite yet.
That is correct. So some of these are based on 2017 vehicles and others are 2018 vehicles.
Yes.
All right, let's move on. Now, this is the only vehicle on this entire list that has front-wheel drive as an option.
They probably already guessed it.
Yep, that's the Honda Ridgeline. It has a 6-speed automatic transmission, front drive setup with a V6 engine, and its combined is 22 mpg, which is pretty good.
For a combined number, yes. And obviously, you guys can go to tfltruck.com, and we have all of these trucks, reviews of all of these, first drives, towing tests. You can see all those numbers, including EPA.
EPA. Now, to be fair, we have not driven the Honda Ridgeline front-wheel drive model yet.
No, only all-wheel drives.
Yeah, only the all-wheel drive ones, which are only within 1 mile per gallon of the front-wheel drive one. But Honda says that it's the best MPG in class. But what they mean by that is gas engine, mid-sized pickup
Yes,
truck.
gas powered.
And the reason
Yes.
I mention that is because from this point forward, we're basically going into the diesel zone.
Oh yeah.
So number 2 on our list of the best MPG for trucks that we've tested is the Ram 1500 with the 3-liter V6 Eco Diesel and 8-speed automatic transmission.
23 mpg combined.
That's impressive.
Really impressive for a full-size truck once
Right.
again. And so you probably have heard about eco diesels not, selling because of the EPA questioning the emissions.
Right.
And that was going on throughout 2017, but they went on sale. The 2017 models went on sale.
That's right.
In August. And some of our viewers actually pointed this out. If you go to ramtrucks.com site for 2018 1500s, the EcoDiesel is not one of the options in the configurator yet. And we've asked Ram, what is the deal? And they said that for 2018, they're still adjusting, which models will have the engine and which will not.
Right.
Which trim packages. So stay tuned for that. We're on top of this.
Yeah, so hopefully this will change in the very near future. Another thing is that this is a 17 model that we're talking about, obviously, because, well, yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the number 1 truck, and actually trucks,
Yes.
in terms of MPG, and that's because they're the twins, or almost twins.
Yes.
That's the GMC Canyon and the Chevrolet Colorado. 2-wheel drive with a 2.8-liter diesel 4-cylinder engine and a 6-speed automatic. It gets 25 mpg combined. Blows our mind. Here's the thing. Very recently actually, we had an opportunity to test these vehicles. 4-wheel drive configuration towing, and they absolutely beat just about everybody else. I mean, they were really impressive.
Yeah, we've had the 2017 Duramax Canyon on our MPG highway loop, and we ran 100 miles
Yep.
on the highway. You and I did this test. We got like 32 MPG empty.
Which is crazy.
And like almost 13 with a trailer. So these are real world numbers.
Yeah, that is a hell of a number. And bear in mind that it's actual EPA number for highway MPG. This is the rear drive model I'm talking about, is 30 MPG.
30.
So we actually got more than that with the 4-wheel drive version. So despite the parasitic loss you have with drag and everything else, it did really, really well. So very efficient engine there. Now, before we go on to the worst MPG, and before we do our disclaimers, because there's a lot of disclaimers, we wanted to get to a couple questions.
Yes.
First of all, people are saying that you can get better MPG with a minivan.
Yes, of course. Well,
Yes, but we're focused on pickup trucks.
yeah. I mean, unless we took a hacksaw and hacked off the back of the minivan and made it sort of a truck, which some people say we do. They've done with the Ridgeline.
The point is, people say it's not very impressive. 25.
Yeah, okay, maybe, but bear
But
in
can
mind,
you tow 7,000 pounds? Can you carry your couch in the back?
you're getting them going.
Well,
guys.
maybe you can carry a couch. What about a fridge?
They're testing you, man. They want it. They don't like you. Tell them more.
David says, I heard Tesla is making a pickup. What's the MPG on that?
David, that's a great question.
We don't know yet.
We
We
obviously
haven't seen
don't.
it.
Yeah, an MPG, I guess you'd say MPGE, and that's a whole other thing. But when it comes out, I have a feeling they're going to try to make it around a 300-mile range. That way it'll be competitive because we've got other vehicles coming in from Workhorse, technically Bollinger, and possibly some other automakers that will be having electric trucks very soon.
And this is an interesting space. Just before we go on, a lot of semi-truck manufacturers are also considering electrification. Cummins just showed an electric concept. Cummins, diesel company.
Yeah, major diesel company.
So
All right, I got to disagree with Street Muscle 392. He says if you buy a truck, you should not be concerned with MPG. And dude, if you work as a trucker, you are very concerned with MPG.
Actually, let me just boil this down for you. If you're using a truck for fun, obviously, no big deal. But I have a cousin, very good example, who has a catering business, and he uses his pickup truck to go all over California. And he's using an Eco Diesel right now, and he's getting kick-ass mileage. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, especially when you're self-employed, saving $50, $80, $100 here and there really does help. So yes, MPG matters, and so does range.
yes, and manufacturers are improving MPGs across the board. Ford has worked really hard to improve the Raptor's MPGs. You could say nobody cares about what MPG a Raptor gets, but Ford paid attention. 10-speed, V6 EcoBoost, aluminum body. So they're trying to improve everything as they move along.
Daniel McLean has an interesting question. especially for us in Colorado. He says, do any of these two-wheel drive trucks actually have a resale value?
All-wheel drive trucks?
Two-wheel drive.
Two-wheel drive trucks?
Oh,
yeah,
oh.
absolutely. A really good example of that would be a lot of people who are farmers out of state. If you bought, first of all, not many people buy two-wheel drive here in Colorado. I would say it's a lower end thing because we get snow.
It's a warmer climate type of truck.
Right. So, but let's say California, Arizona, those places. Yeah, absolutely. Work trucks are work trucks. And at the end of the day, if you look at a Toyota, a really good example, Toyota Tacoma, rear drive little runabout truck, even if it's got 100,000 miles on it, you will be surprised at what its resale value is.
All right. Richard Scherer wants to know, how do you think the new F-150 diesel will perform MPG-wise? That's a really good question because we just kind of did that video.
Yeah, we did do a video on that. What we did is we had it was a Land Rover, right?
Land Rover Discovery.
Right, and it has a similar engine to what we expect the diesel will be in the Ford F-150
Yeah,
diesel.
the 3-liter V6.
Right, right. And that engine did really well in terms of both towing and MPG, right?
Yes, and this is as close as we can get to a Ford 3-liter F-150. It was a different vehicle, right? It's an SUV, different gear ratios probably.
Yeah, different weight and a different transmission.
And a different body style, right? So that was as close as we could get, but we got, about 12.5 MPG towing?
Yeah.
So that's a really good number when you compare it to 12 and 13 MPGs, like from the Eco Diesel and the Colorado Duramax.
That's right.
So it's in there.
It's in the fighting range. And keep in mind, Ford will have a 10-speed automatic transmission. The one we
Versus the
tested was an 8-speed that we tested, so that can make all the difference. All right.
Yeah. Before we move on, there's a little bit piece of news on the 2018 Chevy Colorado that just came out.
Oh, yeah, let them know.
So first of all, they're adding a couple of small items for 2018, like heated exterior mirrors are now optional that weren't before. They have 2 extra colors. The gray metallic and a blue, and there's a third color which is Centennial Blue. Chevrolet is gonna celebrate 100 years of pickup trucks.
Oh, okay.
So they're preparing for this with a new Colorado. They're gonna have new badging for 100-year anniversary, special rims, special grills. So that's a lot of more information coming. And there's another feature that's a little bit mysterious right now called Active Tow.
Yeah.
Chevrolet only provided about 1-sentence explanation for it. Says it helps the driver back up a trailer. So and line up truck and trailer while reversing. So we'll get more information on this, but stay tuned.
It could really be anything, so we'll let you know what we know.
Actually, before you get to the top 5 worst MPG trucks, there's a really good question from Michael Young. And that's actually an interesting thing I think a lot of people are curious about. How is it possible to get better MPG in any truck? Are there any tips on getting good fuel economy when you're driving a truck?
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
There's
Thanks, Michael.
2 places. Is it in Truck Nuts too? Did you guys talk about that?
Well, Truck Nuts book is our book that Kent Sunling, MrTruck.com, and all of us have co-wrote. There are several things that we discuss in the book as well. Mm-hmm. Tire pressures, make sure your tire condition and tire pressures are good in your truck and trailer to spec. If underinflated tire is dangerous, first of all, and it also hurts your fuel economy.
Yeah, fully inflated tire, less rolling resistance, less drag.
Yes, and also your speed. There's no question about. We run all our highway loops at 70 miles an hour because we're in an interstate situation with a 75 mile an hour speed limit.
Right.
But if you decrease your speed, you'll be amazed how your fuel economy changes.
Yeah, and there are a couple other things. First of all, a lot of people out there like to decorate their truck with lights and extra spoilers and
smokestacks coming out the back
and all those other things. Anything that you put on your truck that can affect wind resistance and whatnot will affect it. And so the bottom line is, keep your truck clean in terms of no crap on it, and it'll actually help your MPG. Also, weight.
Yes, weight. If you're carrying an extra toolbox and you don't need it, maybe you can remove it and get better economy.
Yeah, it's little things like that. But once again, check out Truck Nuts book. It has a lot of information in it about that as well. So are we ready to move on to...
one last question.
One last question. Then we'll answer more when we're done.
Cal Baker wants to know... does GM cylinder deactivation actually save your fuel economy?
Yeah, from what I gather, it
so.
definitely does. We recently did a test with a cylinder deactivation, but I think it was on the Ram. And was it on the Ram?
But we've tested a lot of like the 6.2
Yeah,
liter
that's right.
Chevy
6.2 has it.
and a 5.3 liter Chevy all have cylinder deactivation, and actually give you a graphic where it switches from V8 to V4 mode, and it even works while towing, just briefly when you're coasting.
Yeah, just when you're coasting. But the point is that we've noticed a pretty good gain. Let me put it to you another way. General Motors has managed, without using a diesel in their half-ton trucks turbocharging, to get really good MPG, and part of that has to do with cylinder deactivation.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the worst MPG, and let's talk about the disclaimers first, because these trucks are all towing.
Yes, and we have something unique here, right? We test trucks in the real world and often with a trailer.
Yes.
And not many other outlets and magazines have this information. And the following list, the top 5 worst, are trucks, and all of them are heavy duties, obviously biggest, heaviest trucks with big trailers.
Yeah, unfortunately, we weren't able to run these vehicles dry and give you the MPG numbers. Maybe we could do that in the 2018 year.
Yes.
But for now, what we do have is the worst MPG towing basically their maximum weights or near maximum weights, right?
Yeah, and this is a lot of fun and really important data because people buy their trucks to tow.
When it's heavy duty,
Usually,
hell yeah.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to start off with number 5, which is the...
Before you get to that, why doesn't the EPA rate them?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Why doesn't the EPA rate heavy duty trucks, basically 2,500s and up?
Yes, and that's actually based on gross vehicle weight. So when you get above 8,500 pounds of gross vehicle weight, which a lot of the 3/4 ton, actually all of them by definition, and the 1 tons and beyond are that way. And the line on this is the EPA doesn't rate them, and I don't know the official EPA statement on this, but what manufacturers have told us is your mileage will vary tremendously based on your configuration of the truck. If you have a dually, if you're loaded to the max, payload or towing, those numbers will be all over the map.
Yeah, it's interesting. The EPA doesn't rate those. They don't rate agricultural vehicles, military vehicles, stuff like that. Work vehicles, which is really what HD comes down to. That is a work truck, and as such, that's one of the many reasons why they don't rate them, because the configuration of the truck can vary so much. It could be a box truck, it could be a regular pickup truck, a flatbed, a tow truck. There's so many different configurations available that is one of the reasons, not the only one, but one of the reasons why they are not rated. But TFL Truck, that's us.
Yes.
We rate them, baby. We do our best to give you every number we can come up with. So when you go to the TFL Truck channel or the TFLtruck.com page, you're going to find a lot more data about MPG on these trucks. A lot of stuff, minutia. You can really dig into it. All right, let's get on to it. Are we good, Roman, to go to? Okay, we're going to go on to the worst MPG that we've recorded, and these are all heavy-duty trucks. And number 5 is the Ford F-250. It was towing 12,500 pounds, and it got 8.6 miles per gallon, which is really good, actually.
Yeah, on the highway at 70 miles an hour. And like I said before, like we've mentioned, your speed matters a lot.
Yeah.
And when you're towing a big box trailer, which we have the CM trailers, 20-foot by 8-foot box, it's not aerodynamic at all.
No, it's not. And if Mr. Truck were here, Kent,
Yes.
he would, well, first of all, I can't imitate him that well, but he would say something to the effect of, well, you got to understand that if you normally were towing a vehicle and you were going up a hill, you want to get a little bit of momentum going up that hill. If you're going really slow, you won't be able to get that momentum going. I can't keep up with him the way he talks. But anyway.
Oh, you forgot the side winds.
Oh, and side winds.
Yes.
So the point is that a little bit of momentum actually can help you going up a hill. But in terms of going 70 miles per hour as opposed to 65 miles per hour, normally, that does make a big difference with fuel.
Is that the gas or the diesel? You didn't say.
Yeah, that's the gas engine, the 6.2 liter, which is a new rating for 2017. They improved the torque rating on that engine.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
And a 6-speed automatic transmission. And for gas heavy-duty truck, 8.6 towing a heavy trailer, that's actually not a bad
That
number.
ain't bad. As a matter of fact, it's the best of the two that we put up against each other, because number 4 is the Ram 3500.
2,500.
2,500. Why did I say 35? Sorry, 2,500. That also towed 12,500 pounds. It had a big 6.4 liter Hemi.
Yes.
And it got 7.3 MPG, which is way under Ford's number.
Yes, like 1.3 difference, which is, when you consider these numbers, is a big change. And that also had a 6-speed automatic transmission. And both of those trucks were work trucks, basically base models, regular cab 2-door with a longer bed, 8-foot bed.
Yeah. Now, were they both four-wheel drive?
No, both 2-wheel drive trucks. Those were base trucks, and that's rare. We don't get a lot of these.
No, we don't. Automakers tend to bring out their absolute pearls, the ones that are loaded, and give them to people to review because you have leather seats and air conditioning and vented this and massage on some vehicles. Obviously, it's going to kind of get the back of your mind and say, hey, that's a really nice truck. But no, we don't just do that. We like to use the base model trucks that real working guys are going to be using. As such, that's why we tested those two trucks head to head. And that video is on TFL Truck, by the way.
Yeah, and coming up, the top 3 worst. Actually, we did them on the same day. These are 3 fully loaded, basically luxurious diesel one-ton dualies, crew cabs, 4x4s.
Yeah, 4x4s.
So we did it on the same day. Yeah, we had some moisture during this test. We had a little bit of snow and some rain, but we ran them all on the same day, and these are the results with a gooseneck trailer. 22,800 pounds of load.
Now tell them why it was 22,800, because these other trucks, some of them can tow more.
Yes, a lot of these trucks are rated around 30,000 pounds, like the Ford and the Ram, but the Chevy was in the mix.
That's right, and that is basically the maximum or near the maximum for the Chevrolet.
Yeah, so Chevrolet is rated around 23,000 pounds, depending on configuration.
Right.
And 22.8, we're basically maxed out the Duramax.
That is correct. Now these were all diesels, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to number 3.
This is the Ram 3500 dually with the Cummins high output engine, and this is 2017, by the way. So the 900 pound-feet of torque, 6.6 mpg, with a gigantic load.
That is, it wasn't an aerodynamic load, by the way. These were like work equipment, right?
Yeah, they're like
front loaders,
little backhoes.
Yeah.
2 of them and a water tote, so that was a lot of weight. And 6.6 was the best of these 3.
Right, because we would go to the Chevy, which even though it was maxed out, it really was maxed out with 22,800 pounds, it got 6.4 miles per gallon.
Very close to the Ram.
Very close to the Ram, so that's impressive. Now, one thing that kind of got us scratching our heads was the Ford, because it was significantly less. The Ford F350 towed the same amount, 22,800, but it got 5.7 miles per gallon.
And this is real world performance. You
Right.
know, we controlled as many variables as we could.
We don't control the weather.
Right, and this is what we came up with, and there you go.
Now, here's the great part about all this. Now, even though those trucks got what you would consider abysmal MPG, think about it this way. They are more efficient by far than vehicles that were built just 10 years ago. Certain vehicles can't even load that much weight. So, they're more efficient nowadays, they're more powerful nowadays, and they're way more capable nowadays.
And they also have a lot of emissions equipment on them.
Right.
Because even though they're not rated by the EPA on efficiency, they're still checked for emissions.
That's correct.
So all of them have the DEF, diesel exhaust fluid systems.
Yep.
All of the filtration that goes on, and they're kind of restrictive.
Right.
And that's one of the problems that new diesels have.
It's something that they've been overcoming, I'll tell you. These numbers are incredible. All right, let's get to some questions before we wrap this up.
Yeah, a viewer wants to know if Ram should stick the 3-liter Eco Diesel in a heavy-duty truck.
Well,
It may not be enough.
how much torque does that thing have? It's
420.
420.
So that's
not a
not
lot.
quite enough for a heavy-duty truck, maybe a base model, but you have to think about this. You have to recertify, retest, and it takes a lot of expense on the manufacturer part
Right.
to put a new engine in a new truck.
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough torque to really make a case of it. The other engines that they're using, those big 6s, are, they're from Cummins, and those are much more powerful. They have a lot more torque, literally like in double the torque.
Yeah, and if you look at Nissan XD, they're using a Cummins V8 5-liter, and that's 555 pound-feet of torque.
Right.
And so you have to be in that range, over 500 pound-feet of torque to really make any sense for a heavy-duty truck.
Especially nowadays.
For diesel. But there's something else going on here. Jeep is going to be coming out with a pickup truck within the next 2 years.
Yeah, with a diesel.
Ford Ranger is coming, potentially with a diesel.
That's right.
Potentially with turbocharged gas motors as well.
Nissan is rumored to possibly bring out their diesel in their midsize truck.
Yes, and the new Frontier.
And
So
Toyota's going to do whatever the hell they want.
they own the midsize
They,
segment.
whatever. Yeah.
So there's a lot more interesting things happening here.
Right, right. Let's get to some questions.
All right, last question. We're almost at a half hour.
Okay, great.
Wanna
Last
keep
question.
this- Andre, when will you sell your truck? Someone wants to know.
Oh, do you want to buy it? I'm ready to sell my truck.
You've been ready to sell your truck
For like 3 years. Was it 5 years? It's been a while.
I've hit another
Ask his wife.
Oh.
I've hit another obstacle. My wife
ya.
not letting me quite sell it and get a new truck right now.
I hear that. I feel the pain.
I really want a 5-liter Coyote in the F-150.
Okay, there you go.
So viewers, please help me convince my wife to get a new truck. I don't know.
Can you imagine? No.
You know how they can do that?
Send your message to.
No. We're
never mind.
not. We're not gonna send messages.
All right, guys, let's wrap this up.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up, guys. If we haven't answered your question, remember this becomes a regular video in a few minutes. Insert your question, and we will look at this video later on and try to answer a few more questions. Okay. So for the Fast Lane Truck and TFL Now, behind the camera, Roman, Andre, and Nathan saying adios, amigos.
See you guys.